Welcome to Stonewatch. This is my review from Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify for future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, after checking out Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy in the theaters opening weekend, I gotta say, this movie was actually pretty damn good. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say this is like my most favorite MCU movie ever, but it's definitely up there. I mean, as far as where it does rank with all the other MCU movies at this point, I'm not really sure. Maybe once I have like another viewing or two, I might be able to answer that. Now, as far as like the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy goes, I'm gonna have to say the first one's like my favorite, probably because it was like we got to meet him for the first time, even though I thought this one was actually pretty good, how we got an origin story for Rocket and what have you. I thought that was pretty damn neat. Now, I thought for sure in the trailers that they made it seem like that he was going to die in this thing, and he kind of almost did. I mean, that close. You know what I mean? But in the end, he didn't die. He ends up becoming the captain of the team and what have you, because Star-Lord's going to take some time off. He's going to hang out on Earth and stuff like that, you know, and they kind of hinted at that he's going to come back in some kind of other form. Now, I think I heard someone say that Chris Pratt was, open for cameos in other future MCU movies. Actor wants role. News at 11. I mean, come on, really? I mean, who isn't? That does not shock me whatsoever. However, as far as for a final installment goes in the trilogy, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Now, I don't know how well it actually flows with the other two, because the other two actually fed into other stuff in the MCU, not just, I don't know. I guess I didn't do a rewatch of the last two movies before I went to go see this movie. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a 2023 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team Guardians of the Galaxy, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studio Motion Pictures. It is the third and final installment in the Guardians of the Galaxy film trilogy, the sequel to the Guardians of the Galaxy 2014 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in 2017, and is the 32nd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film was written and directed by James Gunn. In the film, the Guardians embark on a mission to protect Rocket from the High Evolutionary. Gunn said in November of 2014 that he had initial ideas for a third film in the series, and announced his return to write and direct in April of 2017. Disney fired him from the film in July of 2018 following the resurfacing of controversial posts on Twitter, but the studio reversed course by that October and reinstated Gunn as director. Gunn's return was publicly revealed in March of 2019, with production resuming after Gunn completed his work on the film The Suicide Squad in 2021 and the first season of his spin-off series Peacemaker in 2022. Filming began in November of 2021 at Trilith Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, and lasted until the early of May of 2022. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had its world premiere at Disneyland Paris on April 22nd, 2023, and was released in the United States on May 5th of 2023 as part of the Phase 5 of the MCU. The film has received positive reviews from the critics and fans. Starring in this movie, Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Palm Collective, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Sean Gunn, Chiwetel Ejiofor, William Poulter, Elizabeth Debicki, Maria Bakalova, and Sylvester Stallone, just to name a few. Now, coming out of opening weekend, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is sitting with a certified Rotten Tomatoes score of 81%, with 288 top critics reporting in. Now, the general consensus of the critics coming out of opening weekend is this: a galactic group hug that might squeeze a little too tight on the heartstrings. The final Guardians of the Galaxy is a loving last hurrah for the MCU's most ragtag family. Now, I gotta agree with that, because I think that this group of characters have been nothing but pretty much funny since at first we met them in the first movie, right? I mean, and I thought it was pretty damn cool that they had Howard the Duck again in this movie. Now, I'm not saying that we need to have an all separate Howard the Duck movie like we had back in the 80s. I mean, can't even remember watching that movie back in the day, but it was kind of cheesy back then. I can only imagine what it would be like to watch it now, and I don't know whether or not if a Howard the Duck movie would actually really work right now. But it's still cool to see that they give him cameos in this and still keep bringing him up. Makes me laugh every time. Now, over on the audience side, it's sitting with a score of 95%, with 2,500 plus fans telling you what they think. Now, majority of the fans are loving this movie. I have to say that my only complaint about this movie is where I sat. You know what I'm saying? Because by the time I got there, and I can buy my ticket online, but I can't pick where my seat is. So by the time I got there, I had to stand in line to get a bottle of water, which it was actually pretty packed. This was like the most people I've seen at the theater since I saw that early premiere for Top Gun Maverick over in California at the Chinese theater last May. Other than that, this was like was the most people I've seen at any screening at all since everybody's been going back to the theaters since in 2021. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was pretty amazing, and it kind of sucked. I mean, I missed most of the trailers. I got to see one trailer, and then it went right into the movie, which was kind of cool. But then again, because I got there when I did, I had to sit in the very front row, which is like one of the worst seats to get in the theater, even with the recliner seats. It just sucks. I mean, I was like that the whole entire movie. I mean, that's my only complaint about this movie, was like where I had to sit, and it's nobody else's fault except for my own. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 easily takes the #1 spot at the box office, and Chris Pratt gets the honor of having the #1 and #2 spot at the box office, because Mario Brothers is still going strong at the box office. They're at #2 this week. Now, I kind of figured that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to take #1 because of all the hype that's going on with this movie, because one, it's another MCU movie. Two, this is James Gunn's last MCU movie, because now he's going to be working strictly with the DCU, with his first movie, Superman Legacy, comes out in 2025 and what have you, depending on how this writer strike goes. However, that was pretty damn cool. He gets to go out on top for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I mean, everybody seems to be liking it, the critics and the fans, with a budget of $250 million and bringing in $118.4 million domestically for its opening weekend. Now, I think its international box office was like about 162. I say about because I only saw the estimate. I did not get to see the actuals, and they've already added on the last couple of days to the amount, so I don't know what it actually brought in for its international box office. But as of this recording, it has made $384.6 million going into week 2. Now we're going to have to wait and see how this thing actually performs in week 2 to see if this has any legs whatsoever, because on average, if it drops any more than 60%, that's not good, because that's pretty much what happened with Ant-Man 3. It was doing good in the first week, and then we got to week 2, and that just went. Hopefully that's not going to happen here with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but we're just going to have to wait and see how that goes. However, for the most part, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I laughed out a lot in this movie. I thought it was pretty good. I was really geeked to see that they didn't actually kill Rocket, and for 1 minute there, I thought they were actually going to kill Chris Pratt's character off, but that's not what's going to happen. Pretty much we didn't have any unforeseen deaths in this movie. Now, I don't think we're going to see, I don't know if we're going to see the High Evolutionary again. I thought it was kind of cool they actually brought that character in, because I remember reading about him in the comics back in the day, and I thought it was kind of cool they actually brought him in, but he didn't really seem to be that much of a big bad, because they pretty much had this thing all wrapped up by the end of the movie. So I don't know. I mean, there were 2 credit scenes in this movie. The one was basically showing Rocket as the new captain of the team, and then we get to see Chris Pratt, aka Star-Lord, hanging out with his grandfather, I think that's who it was, and just getting all caught up. I thought that was kind of interesting, and that's when they gave us the announcement saying that Star-Lord will be returning. What that means, is he going to get his own solo movie now? I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see how that all goes. But again, I did like this movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. As of right now, I'm not really sure where this would rank with all the other MCU movies, but at the end of the day, I did have a lot of fun watching this movie. I definitely plan on seeing this thing in the theaters again. I'm not really sure when that's going to be. I mean, I have to see what's coming out next week to actually make that call, but I definitely want to see this thing again. Out of all the recent MCU movies, this was definitely one of my favorites, so I definitely want to see this one again. It was a lot of fun. So I don't know. I highly recommend going to watch this movie if you haven't already done so, right? So did you get a chance to go check out Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. You think this movie was any good? Let me know in the comments down below. And how do you rank this one with the other 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies? Let me know in the comments down below. And where do you rank this movie with the other movies from the MCU? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, again, this movie was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see it again, right? So let me know what you think in the comments down below.